Napoli fans around the world, welcome to Napoli Talk. And that is another 3 points in the bag for Napoli, guys. Another 3 goals past Fiorentina. Again, guys, again, another 3 points. What a crazy, crazy Saturday of football, starting off well, with a 3 p.m. game of Cagliari Parma that I don't think anybody cares about, and then with that crazy, crazy Juve Inter, another thriller between those two sides. And look, if both teams could have lost, I would have been happy. A draw would have been perfect. And instead, Inter wakes up the beast called Juventus, that I think, judging by the first few games of this season, alongside with Roma, will be our toughest opposition. And look, 3 games in, I'm going to say it, we're in the title fight. Maybe it's obvious to some after we were the champions last year, but a lot of new faces. You have to see how they integrate. But look, the new guys, they all made an impact today. De Bruyne, you can't question the guy, okay? Whether he plays well or not in a particular game, you know that over the course of 38 games, he's going to produce magic. And then you had the new guys, especially Rasmus Højlund, come in and make such an impact from the start. I didn't even think he was going to start. There was Luca training with Antonio Conte for the last 2 weeks, poor guy. And Rasmus Højlund comes in, barely has a training session, starts the game. And what really impressed me, guys, from Højlund was not so much the goal, which was a very, very good goal, that it was something that I predicted. If you guys watched the video that came out on Thursday, I even drew a little animation of exactly the type of goal that he would score, and it was exactly that, which I take pride in. But in that video, I mentioned that I wasn't sure about his hold-up game. Boy, do I stand corrected. My guy, Rasmus, I was not familiar with this side of you, but you showed us that you can definitely also be that kind of Lukaku type player that holds up defenders. Obviously, not the same level as Lukaku, but he made that impact as well. He was there holding up the ball. And guys, unfortunately, when Luca came on in the last 20-25 minutes, we didn't look as dangerous. Now, we also made other subs, so it's not all because of Luca. But there's just something there, no? That the team was not able to find in Luca that target man up front to come up and create chances. Look, I don't know if I'm being again too harsh on the kid, but I really felt the difference from when Højlund was there to when Luca was there. Welcome to everybody in the chat. I want to shout out to everybody that's present. Lots and lots of you guys. We tried to go for 300 likes last video, and I would get an Ambrosino 69 shirt. We only got to like 160 or something like that. So on the one hand, I would have loved 300 likes. On the other, I'm glad we didn't get that many. Let's try to go for just as many this time around, guys. So smash that like button if you're happy that Napoli won. Let's do it right now, guys. For everybody that's, especially for those that are commenting. All right, let's go to some comments. I like this one from Napoli Nation TV. I'm putting it as my banner to start off the live. So first of all, for all those Juventini dreaming, defense wins championships. Mm-mm-mm. That is a key message. That is going to be a key theme, I think, throughout this campaign. It's going to be close between us, Roma, and Juve. But looking at our defenders, Rachmani injured, steps up, in comes Beukema. Buongiorno was injured in the first two games, in comes Juan Jesus, and like it or not, he also performed. We've got Marianucci, who's also an interesting center back, scored for the under 21 team. So we have these type of players. We started today with Oliveira on the bench, who can also play center back, and is actually more defensive minded than Spinazzola. And even with all this, we only conceded one goal. This goal that we conceded today, I think Milinkovic Savic could have done better, but maybe there were a few bodies in front of him, so he didn't see the ball. But we didn't look vulnerable. This goal came, fine, it happens. There's bodies in the box. It's a bit like our third goal. It's one of these that, it can happen. But we didn't look vulnerable. We never looked open like Fiorentina did in the occasion where we scored with Rasmus Højlund. So, guys, very, very happy with our defense. I think it's really our strength that we've continued on from last year. We've built on what I think was a really good starting point. And look, now we have a big, big test against us in the Champions League with Man City. Let's see how that's going to play out. LC is saying something very interesting here, that yes, we did look vulnerable in the last 15 minutes. Now, there's 2 points to this. No, and number one is he actually admits it himself, no, that it's 3-0, maybe the guys switched off, maybe they're thinking about the Man City game. The other point is we made at that point a lot of subs, some of which I think were a bit ambitious, in my opinion, or yeah, maybe it wasn't quite the time for them. For example, no, we know how much Politano is useful in this team. Why? Because he brings that defensive solidity as well. No, and what we did was we brought in Neres and Elmas at the same time, and I don't think they are fully match fit, match ready to go and replace someone like Politano that can do the defensive work super effectively. I think Elmas and Neres, even though they were kind of fresh compared to the other players on the field, they still need to get into the mechanisms of, well, the season, really. I mean, this was for both of them a debut in the season. Other players are already, in their third game. It's against Fiorentina, not an easy team. The other thing that was a bit strange, in my opinion, with this substitution was Neres is typically better off on the right and Elmas better off on the left. Antonio Conte switched them around, put Elmas on the right and Neres on the left. That was a bit weird, in my opinion. I'm not sure why we did that. Oliveira as well came on for Spinazzola, who I think has been solid for this first part of the season. Oliveira, in theory, should be better in defense, but he's had this long trip from South America and all that. Maybe he's a bit tired still, whatever, no? So I can understand why in the last 15 minutes we suffered. I also think it was valuable that we did, because look, against Man City, away from home, we're going to look vulnerable at times. We're going to suffer. And I think it would have been a bit dangerous going there without having had that taste, without, realizing that there is work to do on this side of things. So, look, Conte is going to see that. He's going to understand that we need to prioritize this over the next few days. Because look, in attack, I think we're doing fine. We're doing fine. We gotta shut the shop against Man City, and then with De Bruyne on the ball and Højlund probably starting up top, we can hit City a little bit on the counter. Right. But we'll talk about that City game a little later on. Let me go to some other comments. Payman here is saying Dilos too casual on giving away corner before the goal. Vanja Milinkovic Savic, better than Mered, but should have saved it. Yeah, agree with that assessment. Luca is just sad. Feel bad for him, but does not belong here. Team did well and was comfortable. Yeah, look, this team. Let's start off from back to front. No, team definitely did well and looked comfortable. Look, this going to the Artemio Franchi Stadium in Florence. It's always super hostile for Napoli. I think it's maybe this one, Verona, these two stadiums, maybe Bergamo and Atalanta, are actually maybe three, and Cagliari. I'm about to list almost every Serie A team here, but look, there's out of the 19 away games that you have to do, definitely going to Florence for Naples is one of the toughest places from a environment point of view. And look, they're always scrappy games. Like you saw it in the first half, especially. That foul that, for example, Mandragora did on Milinkovic Savic, super unnecessary, super unnecessary. But they go there, they want to play dirty, they want to play tough, and we did well against this type of team in their home. They were looking for a win. So yeah, against the coach as well, Pioli, that has given us some issues in the past. Let's not forget what Pioli did to us with Spalletti when Spalletti was in Naples. Destroying us 4-0 in the Serie A, knocking us out of the Champions League quarterfinals. So look, the ingredients for Fiorentina were there to cause an upset. Tough ground, a coach that has history against us, Moise Kean on form. Yeah, but we did well, and to do so well and to be so comfortable against a team like Fiorentina away from home means that this is a very, very solid Napoli team. Point three, Lucas just said, yeah, I mean, I tried to warn you guys in July. I'm not suggesting that he's not gonna make it. He might he might make it at some point. But at the moment he's just too raw. And there's a reason why we rushed into buying another striker. We did well. We got Højlund. I'm surprised at the impact Højlund had today, because I expected the goal in that type of way. If they left so much space for him for that goal, but the physicality that he was able to bring, it's not like Lukaku, but it was very close. It was very, very close. And then yeah, Milinkovic Savic, great goalkeeper, but ironically, maybe this was something that Meret could have saved. Meret is just a little bit better in these kind of short range reaction saves. And Di Lorenzo, he did many other things well in the match. Maybe this one he could have avoided giving away the corner. Guys, I'm gonna go straight into something quite fun while I have you on board. I want to go to the predictor game that we've been running. We have a few people that joined, okay? And I see that, so I'm here. I'm number 5. So not too shabby. Okay, this is only for the games that were played today. So it's the Cagliari. Well, let's see, no? We have the matches here. So in this round, Matty B got an exact score and Olis got an exact score, and then everybody else came close with some other ones, or got the result. So yeah, actually, El Chucky Lozano is the only one that got 3 different positive results from the 3 games. What did I pick? I said that it would be 2-1. It was actually 3-1. So yeah. What else did I pick today? Today, where am I? I don't even know where I am. out of all these people. But anyways, I have I have um, I have 3 points. I have 3 points out of I don't know how many, but Matty B is currently leading with 4.5. Guys, if you want to join the league, you know what to do. It's for the members of Club Partenope, and then all the information is in the community post. I want to go straight, guys, into the player ratings actually after this, and maybe I also get some other comments up on the screen, and see what else you guys have to say about this one. Uh, all it says that Zeko performance though. Yeah, he's washed, man. He's washed. If I was on foot, probably turned out different. I don't know what that is about. KDB best match so far and warm up for the big Champions League one. Yeah, dude. KDB going to Man City. That's gonna be good. That's gonna be good. Let me get to some other comments as well. Um, Khalid saying that moment when you're supposed to be angry when Fiorentina scores, but it's low key fine because it means you get the right prediction on Super Brew. Bro, you did well. You did well, man. You're doing well, and you're well on your way to get that merch at the end of the year. What can I say? Rang Rangaruk Rangarukindong. I butchered your name. I'm sorry. Says I like Vange's overall performance today, despite conceding one goal. The near post, his presence made watching the game much more comfortable for me. That's a good segue into this point here, where it's player ratings, and let's start from the bottom this time. Let's start from Milinkovic Savic, guys. Could have done better, no, for the goal. I think we all agree. But overall, I think a pretty decent performance. A few good saves. Came out, was super comfortable with coming out. It's not something that we see often, and I think maybe our own defenders need to get used to that. If we go to that next level, guys, Spinazzola and Buongiorno did a super mega job today. Um, Spinazzola with an incredible assist for Højlund outside of the right foot. This guy, is just an extra playmaker on the field. He's he's got the vision of I don't want to say De Bruyne, no, but he's got that kind of vision that I mean, we have so many talented players on the ball potentially, from Lobotka to De Bruyne to Spinazzola, at times Di Lorenzo as well, that can find a right pass. It's it's really incredible, and I think he's doing super well. Spinazzola. Buongiorno, he kept Moise Kean at bay his first game back from the injury as a starter, at least. Did super well. Belkema with a goal, so positive. I mean, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna give him an 8 because he scored a tap in. But he was present, reactive, did well. Less than Buongiorno, there was a moment in the game where Fiorentina was putting us under pressure, and Piccoli had a one-on-one against Milinkovic Savic, and I don't think he read that situation particularly well. So maybe minus half a point there. Otherwise, it would have been 7.5 for him. Di Lorenzo, I think Payman mentioned it. The corner that he gave away, it was a bit sloppy. Maybe not his most impactful performance overall. Midfield good. The three in the midfield that you see there, Anguissa was incredible, guys. Incredible, Anguissa today. In that first half, that little flick for Di Lorenzo that instigated the goal. Then he got the penalty. Then he got the assist for Belkema's goal. That little back heel that he did. I mean, he has, guys, so much flair, but so much flair that at times it's like I'm watching Zinedine Zidane. And it's crazy because he's not Zinedine Zidane and he will not be. But and he doesn't do it consistently, and he doesn't do it many times in a game, but at times he has those moments of brilliance that, guys, no other midfielder did that today. This belonged only with Anguissa. The flick, the little thing with the nutmeg. I mean, he has that in his locker. And when he's on form, he's devastating because he combines that flair with the physicality, with the presence in the box. A complete midfielder, guys. I mean, he is super underrated. And I think we are, as Napoli fans, we started to appreciate him. Well, since 3 years ago, no. Um, but this year, I feel like he's adding even more. Like he's just been our best player overall in this first part of the season, and yeah, I mean, incredible, incredible to stand out in a midfield where you've got McTominay, De Bruyne, and Lobotka to be the best one out of those says a lot. It says a lot. Um, McTominay and Politano today a bit less impactful, and that's fine. You can have these kind of games. I'm totally fine with that, and there will be other times when they make an impact, and other times where maybe they're catching a bit of a breather, or they just haven't really gotten into the game, and that's fine because we have so many other midfielders right now that can actually make a big difference. I remember that very first match for Zambok, he was like, I'm here. Yeah, instant impact. I think it was against Juventus, right? I think both McTominay and um, Zambo in different seasons, of course, made their debut against Juventus, and both of them just had an instant impact. But Anguissa, and maybe I make a separate video about him, no, because I think he deserves it. But the trajectory that he's been on is super interesting because he started off as like, okay, I'm here, as Napoli Nation TV is saying, like, I'm here, I'm present, physically overpowering people. And then he started showing a bit of flair, but then he had these moments where, for 70 minutes of the game, he'd kind of be asleep, or entire months where he'd not really be contributing that much. And now he's adding so many elements to his game and consistency that he's a real powerhouse. Maybe deserves a complete video in and of itself. Pavle Cvetanovic says Conte in Europe isn't that good. I think Conte is going to take this kind of comment and really fuel him, you know? Um, I think he's got something to prove in Europe, much more than maybe some other managers, you know? And I think he's got the tools as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how Conte will actually do in Europe this time with a team that he's slowly building and shaping around his vision of football. Let's see. But guys, the objective for Man City is just not to lose, right? That would be a mega result. If we can walk out of there with a draw, that would be absolutely massive, I think, away from home. Always good. Rasmus was nice, but I'm not fully sold on all the Luka negativity still early. Yeah, let's keep it. Let's keep it. Let's park the Luka things for now. Napoli 41482, man, thank you so much for your donation. Always super kind and super appreciated. Rasmus Højlund looks like a keeper for the club as opposed to Lorenzo Luca. Beautiful goal. I was super confused at first. I thought you meant to say that he was a goalkeeper. I was like, what? But yes, Højlund, you can really build on that, and it's not just his current level, but also his age. 22, you can still use him for another 3, 4 years, and then he's only going to be 26. You can sell him, still make good money. Luca, guys, he's 26, and we're talking about needing to have patience. I mean, guys, at 26, um, you need to really be at your close to your peak, in my opinion. Otherwise, yeah. Otherwise, yeah, um, it's going to be difficult, I think, for Luca. Right. So Højlund 8, because what an impact and what a goal, and the subs, not really impactful. Just kind of held it just about enough together. Okay. Now let's go and let's look at the game, guys. Let's go back and take a look at the good moments, the good times from an hour ago, an hour or two ago. Look, this Anguissa flick, we talked about it. I, yeah, love it. Absolutely love it. Rasmus here, look, he he's a very Rasmus Højlund is a very lucky boy, because if he had missed this and we didn't score a minute later, he would have been maybe thinking about it, putting blame on himself, and maybe the goal that he scored would have never happened. But in the end, this miss led to the penalty, which De Bruyne scored. And by the way, when you get a penalty and you see this face with the ball, there's a sense of peace. I don't know about you guys, but this was maybe the first penalty in my life watching for Napoli when the game is, not already kind of won by 2 or 3 goals, but it was the first penalty at a, let's say, 0-0 or whatever, that I was calm. I literally just sat back and I just wanted to enjoy the moment. I knew that the goal was gonna come. I think this is what it must feel like to, I don't know, like, be at peace with the world. Like, I don't know, like, what, but there's just a sense of calmness, no, with De Bruyne, and then yeah, he slotted it past the hair. How many times has De Bruyne done this with Man United, guys? How many times? Let's get to the goal of Højlund, no? And look, we had the animation going in the last video where I presented Højlund, and this was exactly, guys, it's incredible. This was exactly the situation that we had, no, with the ball around this area of the field, and Rasmus Højlund making this type of run in between the defenders. But let's understand why this was possible. Look at that distance between Comuzzo and his center back pairing. It's huge. It's huge, guys. This is asking Højlund to make a run in behind you. But you have to say, okay, why? Why is this area so huge? Why did Comuzzo not get closer to Højlund? Why didn't they put 2 people on this guy so that they could control his runs a bit more? Well, because Comuzzo was looking at Mctominay. So we're talking about Mctominay not having a good game, but look at how he's able to influence the score, because he is such a threat, he is such a presence on the field, that defenders know that they have to keep a lookout for Mctominay, and the fact that he loves to make runs inside the box and all that. So you can actually see Comuzzo not only getting away from his line. You see how he's not exactly horizontal to his center back partner, but he's edging closer and closer to McTominay, ready to kind of put pressure on him and almost attracted, because McTominay has a bit of his own gravitational pull. That's how much aura he has. So Komutsa is getting closer, closer, closer to McTominay, focused on McTominay, that he doesn't realize the amount of space that he's leaving behind him for Højlund to go and make that run. He is completely oblivious to anything, and also it took a moment of pure brilliance by Spinazzola as well to read the situation and play the pass perfectly weighted. And the other thing that impressed me as well was this moment here, guys. The way that Højlund used his football intelligence and his body and his speed all at the same time in a split second. Here the ball's rolling past him on the left, and look at how he keeps his body in between the defender and the ball, uses his arms to keep the defender at bay, make sure that the ball is never not in his sight. Perfect, just exactly what you want from your striker. This is Pippo Inzaghi at his very best, that kind of striker that loves to make these kind of runs on the limit of the offside, times it perfectly, uses his arms, his body, his intelligence. Beautiful, beautiful goal, guys. This is, yeah, I'm just very impressed. And then beats his man, puts the ball under control, and slots it past De Gea, which, not an easy goalkeeper to score against, especially in these type of situations, because out of all the goalkeepers, maybe in the world, De Gea is one of the best at saving one-on-ones. And we saw with Elmas in the second half. And the reason why he was able to beat De Gea is because he lifted the ball just enough so that it's not purely on the ground, but it's not high enough that it would be blocked by De Gea's gloves. There's that in-between spot between the foot of the goalkeeper and the hand of the goalkeeper, and he places it exactly there. Something that, for example, Elmas didn't do. Elmas hit the ball low on the ground, which is normally totally fine because that's what coaches tell you to do, hit it low on the ground in the corner. But De Gea, unlike many other goalkeepers, uses his feet very well. Like, you remember the goal that they scored against us with Milinkovic Savic. He could have easily stuck out a leg and saved it with his foot. But goalkeepers are trained to actually go down with their body and try to catch the ball with the hands, even though they're 3 meters tall. For Americans, that's like 20 feet. They're 20 feet tall and they're trying to dive down with their hands. De Gea is much more practical, a bit more, I don't know, like a handball goalkeeper or something like that, where he uses the star method very effectively, spreads out his legs, and actually there's two ways you can score against this type of goalkeeper. Either you put it underneath his legs, or you put it in that middle height between the leg and between the foot and the hand, which is super difficult because he also had to curl it. Guys, this goal, it's impressive from timing, intelligence, physicality, technicality, understanding of the game. This goal makes me very, very, very happy to have Højlund on the team, and what a way to start. What a way to start. Not at all easy. And look, he was doing lots of these kind of runs. I mean, this guy's gonna score goals. This guy's gonna score lots of goals with De Bruyne feeding him these type of passes with his speed. Then De Bruyne here could have actually scored himself when he passed it back, but De Gea saved it. Let's analyze Højlund a little bit more. No, let's analyze now his hold-up play. This here was another moment in the game. Long ball, he uses his body, protects the ball. Another defender comes up, so he just had a tackle from behind. And then another defender comes up and tries to tackle him from the side. Both times, he manages to get in between the defender and the ball, using his body, using his strength, lays it off to Di Lorenzo, and Di Lorenzo did a through pass to De Bruyne that was making a run into the space that Højlund himself left. Classic Lukaku, guys. This is classic Lukaku. I did not expect Højlund to be able to do this, to be honest. This is not the same Højlund that left Italy 2 years ago. This is much stronger physically Højlund. The Premier League obviously has shaped him in that kind of way. And look, he's going to make the difference in Serie A. He's going to make the difference. It's clear to me. After today's game, I think it's very clear. I've seen enough. In a good way. Lukaku and KDB may be the best penalty takers Napoli has had in ADL era. Yeah. Who else? Cavani was pretty solid, no? Pretty comfortable, but the sense of calmness that I got with KDB was different. This was our best 11 in shape for me today. Højlund reminded me a bit of Osimhen, and KDB fit very well with the other mids. Yeah, he does have a little bit of that Osimhen type of thing to him. Yeah, less probably useful in terms of in the air. Osimhen, from an athletic point of view, was devastating, was dominant, but I think Højlund, what he doesn't have in height and jump and all that, maybe he has a bit more in this kind of hold-up play, which I don't think Osimhen ever really mastered. I think because he doesn't really have that much muscle to him. Osimhen's kind of a skinny guy, which maybe helps him in being maybe a bit faster and jumping higher. But physically, he wasn't really able to hold up like a Lukaku. Whereas Højlund, I see him a bit more structured in that sense. But early days. If he can do 70% of what Osimhen was able to achieve, that's already massive. Anthony Navarro, man, welcome as well to the chat, and thank you, bro, for the $5 donation. Really appreciate it, man. Hope you're doing well. Forza Napoli sempre. First time since Ospina, I'm comfortable in the back with Vilinko. Why do I keep saying Vilinkovic? Vanja, Milinkovic, Savic. Højlund faster than Lukaku. Elmas didn't miss a beat. Professional win. We are the team to beat. Yeah, Elmas coming back. That was good. And definitely we are the team to beat. I mean, we looked at, or I saw the Inter Juventus game today, and many goals, many things, but in the end, those teams have issues. Those teams have issues at the back. With yeah, I I can't see those teams being as consistent as us, but it's early days. It's very, very early days, guys. So let's see. In the end, we have a guy on the bench called Conte who, yeah, I would much rather have him than Kivu or Tudor. Um, because look, for example, I think Kivu today, I'm not sure I would have done the same subs as he did. I know that in the end they contributed to some goals, like Zielinski got an assist and all that, but I don't know, man. Taking off Lautaro Martinez, Barella, and who else? Someone else, all at the same time. Yeah, not. I wouldn't have done that, to be honest, which is something Conte wouldn't have done. So yeah, I think we're definitely the team to beat because of the players, because of the coach, because of many, many reasons. Olids, man, thank you as well for your donation of NOK 100 Norwegian krona. That's cool. I wish I wish you could like I wish some of these donations would be in like actual physical currencies, no? Then I could collect like cool currencies that I wouldn't get the chance normally, because I think these just get converted. But anyways, as a Norwegian, there's nothing I love more than seeing Scandinavians doing well for Napoli. Højlund look like different gravy to Luca. Man, if a Norwegian says it, then you know that it's legit for two reasons. One, Norwegians know about strikers. Okay, we all know Agbonglahor, or what was his name? What was that Norwegian guy's name that played for Aston Villa? Um, no, obviously I'm talking about Haaland. Um, Haaland, bro, like what a striker. We will see him in a few days playing against Napoli, and Norwegians are lucky to have him, and so they know something about strikers. Number one. Number two, if a Norwegian guy is telling you that a Danish guy is doing well, then the Danish guy is doing really well. Because my understanding of Scandinavians is that they love each other, but there's also a little bit of a rivalry between the Swedes and the Norwegian and the Danish and the Finnish. And so, if one of them gives a compliment to another, then it means they're doing really well. It's also good to see a Scandinavian finally doing well for Napoli, because we had Lindstrom, who was another Danish, and Kajuste, and you could put Ostigard in there as well. Let's just say that those guys didn't leave the best mark. So yeah. Rafaez with a very interesting question. Will Conte play Højlund over Lukaku when he comes back? Hmm. That's going to be interesting. I think it all depends on just how much of an impact Højlund will. Like, if Højlund by December is on 10 goals, then how can you bench him? But there will be space for everybody. I think Lukaku might, in this type of scenario, I think Lukaku would come back and play against maybe the smaller teams to get slowly back into it. What would be interesting is more about the end of the season, when Lukaku is fully fit. Yeah, then in a big game, when both of them are fully fit, if both of them have been playing well, that's going to be interesting. Maybe he will just go for Luka. Maybe he will just be like, I don't want to think, I don't want to choose between my two babies, so I'm just going to go for the third option. You never know with Conte. No, honestly, if he does that, I would be I would be calling the police on him, man. He cannot do that. We cannot afford that. But yeah, thank you, Olids, for the donation. I forgot, sorry, to put your comment in the banner, but good stuff as well on the Superb Brew Napoli predictor game, man. Very, very good job. Napoli 41482. Thank you again, man, for the donation, guys. Super, super kind. Thank you. Saying thinking outside the box, if Napoli would go for a good young winger, uh, Yankuba minted 21 Brighton would be a good affordable signing. So the issue with Brighton is that it feels like they all just go to Chelsea. So there's like a conveyor belt a little bit. We managed to snatch Billy Gilmore from them, but that's because Gilmore was already at Chelsea. That was a package that went the other way. So this was the one player Chelsea really couldn't go and buy again. So yeah, buying from Brighton, not super easy. Um, but yeah, look, I think definitely we were out there looking for another winger. I mean, even after getting Noah Lang, we wanted Ndoye, then it wasn't possible. Then we looked at some other players, and then, Lukaku got injured, and we had to instead veer for a number nine, and thank God, no, because otherwise we would have had Luka only. So things changed, but definitely it was part of the plan to have a young winger. Maybe 21 is a little bit on the young side for Conte. Um, and you might argue, well, Højlund's only 22. Yeah, but Højlund, already played in Serie A, in the Premier League, big teams, Atalanta, United. So he's not coming. He's a bit of a prodigy, let's say. I think 21's a bit young for Conte. I would say maybe someone more like 24 would be the sweet spot where Conte can trust him a bit more from the start. LC, man, thank you guys. You guys are being super kind today with your donations. I really appreciate all of them. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, with Champions, Serie A, and Coppa Italia, there will be playing time for everyone. I hope no injuries, at least no more than we already have, right? I mean, we already have Meret injured today. That's why he didn't play. Rachmani injured. Neres got injured. Buongiorno was injured at the start of the season. Lukaku injured. We already have had quite an injury list, actually. Højlund is bigger than I thought. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel like Lookman could really make it. Yeah, see, that's a guy that I would love to see in Napoli. Lookman, the problem is attitude. Like, if he's doing this with Atalanta because he wants to go to Inter, then he will do that with us because at one point he wants to go to Real Madrid or Barcelona. That's kind of my only worry, is that he's already shown that he's a problematic player. Now, you could argue that Atalanta are in the wrong and that he's in the right, that they had some kind of agreement or whatever, but I don't know, man. Like, I feel like these players should just shut up at times, Like, dude, you're making a boatload of money, like, to play, to kick a ball. You're making so much money. Like, say that you want to go somewhere else, have that conversation, and if the club that pays you your salary and trusted in you when literally nobody else did tells you, actually, no, you need to stay, then you just shut up and stay. That's my personal view on how the world should work ideally. But some of these players are very spoiled, just very spoiled, and I don't like these kind of guys on the team, to be honest. But from a purely football perspective, yeah, Lookman would be incredible. Another Osimhen, no thank you, more or less. And Osimhen, guys, great striker, great striker. But when he went live on Instagram talking about his Nigeria coach and saying stuff, kind of going crazy on Instagram live, when he pulled that, that cost him a move to the Premier League. Basically, any big club that wants to protect its brand reputation wants to have nothing to do with a player like that can just go on social media and start talking badly about the coach and stuff like that. No matter how poorly the club or the coach might have behaved, they just don't want those kind of people that will cause a PR nightmare. And yeah, unfortunately, um, Osimhen with that stunt ruined his future in the Premier League. Lookman came quite close with doing that. You know, he didn't go on Instagram Live and start shouting and screaming, but he did put a story. And yeah, man, you can't be doing this if you play for Real Madrid or Liverpool or things like that. You can't be doing this, man. Um, so and clubs expect you to have this attitude from before you join them. Not It's not good enough to just be professional once you're there. They don't want to take that chance. Anyone that supports Napoli is worthy of the donations, Dom. Yeah, we put this in the pot for the merchandise. No, but really, thank you to anybody that donates. I try to give back, first of all, with my time in doing this, and second of all, with the merchandise from these kind of games that I have to. In the end, it's just a way for me to elect a winner within the community, because I cannot give everybody a something like merchandise. Otherwise, you would all get like, I don't know, just a pin or something, and I'd be paying more in shipping fees than the actual product. But yeah, last year, the winner of Napoli Talk got, well, this shirt, a scarf, a water bottle, uh, another thing. The guy in second place got the full tracksuit. So these donations go back to the community in some way, which is cool. Which is cool. Um, Anyways, Mike, man, thank you as well for the $2. Even Højlund acne is gone. Glow up. Dude, I saw that, man. Like, he literally doesn't have acne anymore. What happened, man? What happened? Must be the Italian tomatoes. But yeah, look, Højlund, very good. This photo here, it's not the most kind of centered. I didn't get the screenshot at the right time, but just wanted to highlight his hold up play. Very, very good. And Di Lorenzo, he did do this thing here, which was incredible, which maybe deserves him having a higher rating on my play ratings. I mean, I totally forgot about this now that I'm just flicking through the screenshots that I took. I I I just realized this, but yeah, Di Lorenzo here, I think it was 2-0 at the time. So still a very delicate moment of the game, and quite quite difficult actually, because the ball is coming at speed and he has to time it perfectly to actually get his foot wrapped around the ball to make it go for a corner, because if he just gets it straight on, it's an own goal. And we saw Locatelli do that against against Israel in the Nations League where he scored an own goal, like exactly like that, trying to intercept the cross, didn't do it well. So not an easy thing, not an easy thing. And then Belkema scores 3-0. Everybody's happy. And then Elmas comes on, and it just feels like, such a feel good game. 3-0. Everybody scores. That's new. Elmas comes on. Neres is back. And then all of a sudden, these guys start putting us under pressure. Milinkovic Savic needs to turn into Superman. He has to make a few good saves. I mean, I think some of them are a bit, um, they're a bit for the photographers, let's say. Um, a bit over the top. Uh, like he did not need to do this. He's way off his line here. But good that he did. Maybe maybe risked getting himself hurt actually. But they make for good photos, which unfortunately I was not able to take the screenshot at the right time, so I completely cut him off. But yeah, this one here quite good. Again, this is a little bit like the thing that I was telling you about De Gea. Actually, Milinkovic Savic does it quite well here using his leg. De Gea is much actually better, no? And we see that with Elmas later. He's more of a master of that. But Milinkovic Savic, very, very good. Very, very good. But yeah, this is the difference between the goalkeeper saving it and what Højlund did, where he put it at exactly the right height. But ultimately, guys, Milinkovic Savic couldn't keep a clean sheet. Um, yeah, I think here it's a mix of he could have done better, maybe could have used his leg, but at the same time, a lot of people in front of him. It's okay. It's okay. 3-1, it's fine. Clean sheets, in the end, they don't matter that much. And actually, it's maybe a good thing to have conceded a goal in the sense that having records can sometimes put unnecessary pressure on you, no? So imagine Napoli starts going, 3, 4, 5 games with a clean sheet. It starts becoming like something, instead of being positive, it starts becoming like a burden, no, that you're carrying. A bit of pressure to keep that streak going. It's like when you play Flappy Birds and you get past a certain level, then your finger starts becoming a little bit jittery, a little bit heavy, and you're like, why? It's just Flappy Birds. But you know what I mean? This kind of stuff happens, right? Um, so probably good to get that out of the way. Get the yeah. Sometimes it's good to concede a goal in the long run. But it did cause us to suffer for like 15 minutes, which in itself is again is good. It's good practice for the Man City game. Would have been nice to see Elma score, but yeah, they get good save, positioned himself really well. So yeah, um, Contini is actually not there. Contini fractured his. What did he fracture, Contini? He fractured something this week. So we have no Meret, we have no Contini, and we just have Ferrante. It's getting late when Dom starts pulling out the Flappy Birds comparisons. Man, I'm just a man of culture. I can do all the comparisons, man. I do the best comparisons. Yeah, man, it's getting late. It's getting late, man. It's in 10 seconds. It will be 1 hour since the stream started. So yeah, sometimes speaking too much has this kind of effects on your brain. I'm just gonna scroll up and see if there's any maybe comment from someone that I missed that I didn't get a chance to highlight. Maybe Laurentio here, that I don't think I managed to get any of his questions earlier in the stream. Says, I have an interesting question. Do you think if I buy a ticket of P1 travel for the city away game and ask if I can sit in our away ultras, and do you think they'll let me? I think no. Um, I think in England they're quite strict on where you need to sit. I mean, I'm not sure if I'm understanding the question right, but I think you're asking to buy a ticket in one place to then go sit somewhere else. I think they're quite strict on that. But I think if you buy like a city um, ticket and just camouflage with them, it'll be fine. Maybe you just wear like a De Bruyne Napoli shirt and they won't do anything to you. Um, but yeah, dude, actually going undercover is quite cool. Like I did that a few years ago for a Europa League game when I went to see Leicester against Napoli, and I was undercover. And then obviously like they found out, the people around me later on. Um, but it was it was fun. I mean, you can kind of mess around with them, a little bit. And then I think in that game there was this moment where the Napoli Ultras started fighting with the Leicester Ultras or fans or whatever. And, I was just there watching without needing to be involved because I wasn't with them. So it's good. It's good. Right. Napoli 41482 is telling me to get a cup of coffee. So, oh, it's telling me not to get a cup of coffee. And to go to sleep. So yeah, but before we do that, guys, before we do that, by the way, Gustavo, welcome, man, welcome, welcome. Aaron says I went to Salisburgo and told nearby fans I was rooting for Napoli. It was pretty chill, except for two guys behind me who were being pricks. Yeah, you always get like two guys out of like the eight that are around you that are a bit, like annoying about this kind of stuff. But most people, like, I think they're I think they're cool with it unless you go to a place where there's like a clear rivalry, Like if you go to Frankfurt and they kind of hate us there, I don't even know why, but they do, then that could be a problem. Let's see. I before I close this, I want to do something. I want to see what Antonio Conte had to say. So let's go and see Conte's press conference. All right. Also, Højlund released some stuff. Anyways, Politano, Anguissa, everybody spoke, man. Everybody spoke. Gone are the days when Napoli used to not allow anybody to speak. Let's see Conte, okay? Let's go to Conte's press conference. Well, first of all, what he had to say to the microphones of Sky Sport. So they asked him about picking Højlund from the start and what satisfied him the most. He said, we responded present for most of the game. The approach was very important. This is a game that we dominated. We created a lot of chances. De Gea had to make a lot of saves. And we shouldn't let us go through that last 15 minutes again. I really like my players like brothers, but they know what I liked and what I didn't like in this game. We conceded too much, and we struggled in the last 15 minutes. With Elmas, we could have even closed the game though. Did you expect Højlund to be this ready? They ask him. And he says he's 22 years old. We got him from Man United, and we saw that it was a winning combo with Mctominay. You can tell that he's a player that has very, very good potential ahead of him. They ask him how he plans to use the three strikers for the Champions League. And he says, look, we got Højlund to replace Lukaku. Today, Napoli dominated, and we were able to keep the ball, and that's what strong strikers who play for teams that want to dominate do. That's key because that's the problem with Luca is that he's not able to keep the ball. He's not able, like, despite him being this massive guy, he's not able to keep the ball, and he's instead saying that Højlund was able to do that. But he didn't answer the question about the three strikers for kind of two positions in the Champions League later on in the season. Then they ask him about the defenders, and he says, "Yeah, everybody did very well. We didn't allow Fiorentina to play much. We went and got them very fast and very high up the field. Um, I disagree with what you guys have said in the studio about Fiorentina. It is actually a team that is structured for all the competitions. They have very good players, not just good players. Um, so Conte here wanted to highlight that Fiorentina are a very good team because apparently in the Skybox studio they were saying that they were kind of just okay. Um, so very punchy Conte. Gustavo Brasman, thank you as well for your donation. Forza Napoli sempre, back to you. Napoli 41482, Don buonanotte, buonanotte, grazie per tutto. I'm going to get ready to watch the Canelo fight card. Forza Napoli sempre. Enjoy, man. Enjoy your weekend of sports. Enjoy your weekend of sports. Let's see Conte if he said anything different in another press conference. He said they asked him, this is a Napoli team that's always in evolution. He says, well, football in itself is always in evolution. In the last decade, a lot of things change, and we needed to evolve as coaches as well, and reinforce ourselves tactically. I think we definitely did a good game against the Fiorentina, who in the last 3 years always arrived in the semifinals of European competitions, and also in the final of the Coppa Italia. It's a team that is equipped for three different competitions, so we did very, very well. I didn't like the end of the game, but De Gea had to make some good saves, so we did well. Um, and today a lot of new players came in, and it's important that everybody had a chance to play. It's a very good thing that these new players are coming in and integrating with the group of players that have been here for many years. And yeah, they ask him how Meret is, um, and he says, "Look, Meret yesterday had a muscle issue, which didn't seem so big, but instead this morning they ran some analysis and they saw that there was something that it was better not to risk. But anyways, it allowed us to give Milinkovic Savic his debut, and that's why we brought him. We have two goalkeepers that can both be starters." And they ask him, "Why did you pick Højlund over Luca?" And he says, "Based on what I see on the training ground, it's not like I have to invent anything or pick randomly. The things that I do, the players that I put on the field are always because of what I see in the training ground." The kid integrated himself really well in his new reality. We told him a little bit what type of movements he needed to do. He's someone that already has played in the Serie A, and against teams like Real Madrid. He's played for teams like Man United, so he's someone that comes with a lot of experience despite his 22 years. And it's up to me to continue working with him and improving him like it is with Luca. Apart from De Bruyne, these are all players that need to take a step up, and it's part of my job. and we need to have patience and tolerance. So yeah, we just have to neither get too carried away nor get too disheartened when things don't go their way. Um, and Yeah, and then he did a final message for a little kid called Daniele who passed away last year. That people, especially Anghissa, were very, very close with Daniele, and he passed away last year in the week of the Fiorentina Napoli game. So Conte wanted to bring that up as well, and that kid gave the team a lot of strength. So look, that was Conte. Anguissa also had something to say. He said, after the national teams, these games are always difficult. I'm happy Højlund scored, and we know the quality that he has. He did really well, and we're happy for him. We know what we have to do now in the Champions League. It will be an intense match, and I'm very happy to play in the Champions League this year. Højlund himself released some statements saying, I'm happy for the goal. Today was an important game. Very happy to have scored and to be part of this team. Now we go and we think about the Champions League. We need to remain focused and keep working to build on this and do something important. Finally, Buongiorno saying, with Sam Bilkema, immediately there's a good chemistry. We try to communicate as much as possible, because obviously I know him a bit less than Amir, but it went super well. I'm happy as well that he got a goal. For Thursday in the Champions League against Man City, it will be tough with very strong strikers, and a good team overall. We need to recover our energies and prepare at our maximum. And obviously, as I always say, always trying to improve, and do better. Then they asked him what went wrong in the last 20 minutes, and he said, look, we went a little bit deeper than we wanted to. And obviously, they tried to recover the game. Anyways, these are the players, guys. I think they're all very excited and focused for the next game against Man City. It's gonna be Thursday. Guys, Thursday, I'm gonna be in Lisbon for work. There's a 2-day company conference, so I need to check the schedule and see if, unfortunately, I'm gonna be in some like, I don't know, event or dinner or whatever. But I have basically all of my colleagues that are crazy about football, no? Um, with their teams playing as well on Thursday. So maybe I can convince them to all go and watch the games at some kind of sports bar or something like that, so I can at least watch Napoli. Because, like, if I'm at a company event, I'm not sure I can be on my phone, like, watching the thing. I mean, I'll be taking like 20 million bathroom breaks or something, no? um so yeah, it's going to be a bit tricky maybe to watch the game, but let's see what I can do. Let's see what I can do about either watching it. I think going live will be very tricky afterwards, but look, I will prepare for all eventualities, but just note that maybe I will not be live after that game. Maybe yes, maybe no. So anyways, that's a little bit about that. But yes, man, excited to go to Lisbon. I've been there before. Super cool place. Love the pastel de nata pastries. Good foods, good vibes, good good place, man. Good place. Shame that it wasn't, dude. If if there was the Benfica Napoli game over there this Thursday when I'm going, there's no company event that would block me. I would be at the Estadio de Luz watching supporting Napoli, and you know, if they want to fire me for that, it is what it is, you know. But you cannot be in the same city as your football team and not go. So luckily for them, we play against Man City and not Benfica. But yeah, no, yeah, good stuff, guys. With that, I will end the live here. Another 3 points. This team's looking good, guys. Now the big tests are coming. First one, Man City. Let's see what happens. Anyways, with that, guys, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy whatever it is that you're doing here, and catch you for the next one. As always, Forza Napoli sempre. Ciao.